Today we'll be learning data validation. What is data validation and why is it important to you as a data analyst? Data validation in Excel enables you as a creator of data sheet to set restriction within a data sheet or base. This is to help protect your data and ensure that no wrong data is imputed into your data set without your knowledge. For example, you're a manager and you give a particular Excel sheet to your employee to impute certain data and they made mistakes on your data set. If the data is automated for certain things, it will affect the output and in the long run affect your productivity. And this is the reason why data validation is very, very important, thereby saving you the time and effort of trying to restore your data back to normal when you can easily protect it from the beginning. So let's look at data validation. And in this training, we'll be looking at all numbers, test length, date, drop down list, input message, error, alert. So we have this table and we can input numbers into these tables. All right. To carry out data validation, you go to data and under the data tab, you search for the data tools group. You click on data validation where you will be given a dialog box like this. So I'll select the colon, all right, and validation, data validation. And in this set, I want to impute all numbers. So I'm allowing all numbers. You could allow any value, you could allow decimal, list, date, time, test length, custom. For the sake of this column, I want to allow all numbers alone. And the kind of data you can allow is between data, not between, equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. But I'll be leaving it on between on this data set. So I want to impute a data set of 49 and 100 maximum. All right, and then I'll say apply these changes to other cells within the same setting. No, you leave it blank and say okay. Remember, for 100 is the maximum, 49 is the minimum. So let's impute 57 and you see it entered. Let's impute 89, it entered. Let's impute 99, it entered. Let's impute 101. You'll see this value doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for this cell. Okay, even if I should retry, it won't work. All right, you can see, you could see that it only tells me about the problem, but there is no solution to the problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill other informations. Let's fill 69. Okay, so we have this set of data. For the test length, we'll highlight it. All right, and then come to data validation again, and we could see test length. We want to use test length of greater than, or we could use greater than or equal to. So test length greater than or equal to 10. That is to say, let's impute a certain test like separate. So it doesn't work because the minimum is 10. Separate is 8. So let's use communication, and see. Communication entered because it is more than 10. Data science. Okay, data science entered. Telecommunication will enter telecommunication, data science, and so on and so forth. So this is how you can do that for test length. Now let's look at date. Okay, so let's quickly do that of the date cell and highlight it, and then come to data again. and validation, data validation. So you could see it on the date. We want to change from any value to date. Okay, so we want to use an in-between date. So we have a date, could use an in-between date, but if you want to keep it open, you could use greater than or less than, or greater than or equal to keep it open. So let's, for example, I want to impute a date in between 12 3 2022 2023, change that to 12 3 2024. Okay, so if I should impute 12 12 2023, enter, you could see this entered immediately. Could do 10 6 2023. You could see it's returning retry again our validation. So we have a start date of 12 3rd 2023 and then 12 3rd 2024. Okay, so we can impute most of the days of 20 or first 2024, and you could see most of this data could be entered into this particular cell. Now if you imagine if you have a large set of data and you give it to an employee to impute data and a mistake is made, instead of rechecking everything over again, you can avoid that mistake by using the data validation. Now next is create a drop down list. Okay, next is to create a drop down list. So for the drop down list, we go to data and then data validation, and we choose a list, and then we impute what we want. We want north, want south, want Benin, and then enter. So we have this drop list. We have north, south, and then Benin. So Benin can enter, south can enter, and north can enter. Okay, so these are the drop down lists that could enter into anywhere in this in this cell. All right, so another way we could do this is by selecting this and then data validation, and a list and then data source. Now we are picking all of that from this point and then enter. So we have north, west, east, and south, and this is how you can uh, use data validation to protect your cell. This is data validation, and remember, whenever we imputed a number or something that is different from the entire says, it returns this value doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for the cell. Now you could see this value doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for this cell, and this is what your users or employees or whoever you give access to your cell are going to see when they attempt to impute certain files. In order to overcome this, let's select this entire cell, come back to data validation. You go to impute message, kindly impute all numbers greater than 49 but less than 100, and then okay. All right, so now you can easily see that kindly impute all numbers greater than 49 but less than what, 100. So